The Wolf of the Pogost, a rural August case. Some places tolerate the living only because the dead allow it. In the village of Zavyalovka, thieves thought a cemetery was just easy metal and quick cash. But the locals kept repeating one line: "The Pogost is the world of the dead." Tonight, we follow what happened when that warning was ignored and how something old came to collect a debt. This is Untold Dark Truths. August pressed down on Zavyalovka like a hand on a lid. By day the air climbed to 33 degrees. By night it fell to 22, barely enough to breathe. The wheat fields shivered under combines. Cows grazed in the ravine near the river, and on the small beach children played under the watch of tired teachers. On her one day off, Zinaida Stepanovna, a dairy worker, walked to the cemetery to tidy her husband's grave. She carried a rag, a bottle of water, and a small bouquet. Nothing, she thought, could go wrong in daylight among the quiet stones. Then she reached the plot and stopped dead. The metal fence, the table, and the bench, everything was gone. Cut clean at the roots. Her voice rose before she could stop it. "My God, you parasites stealing from the dead." She spun around and saw she wasn't alone in grief. All around were fresh stumps of iron, 7 graves in all, brutally harvested. Most belonged to the forgotten old wooden markers, faded portraits, the kind no family visits anymore. Thieves count on that kind of silence. But Zinaida's husband's grave wasn't forgotten. Paved with femme tiles, crowned with a tall granite monument, it was obviously tended. Tears hot on her face, she ran to the caretaker's shack. The door creaked open to Ivan Kuzmich, 70 or so, clothes faded but scrubbed clean, gray hair tied back, a beard trimmed neat. He looked like a village priest without a church. There was none in Zavyalovka. "Good day, Zinaida Stepanovna," he said with the soft patience of someone who has watched seasons more than people. "Why are you so upset?" "They butchered our Pogost," she said. 7 graves stripped. Metal, benches, everything. Ivan exhaled and sat on the bench outside. "Sit and don't shout," he said gently. "I was away at the district center for a week. Someone must have known. They worked while I was gone." He stroked the old dog Barsik snoring under the bench. "The Pogost is the world of the dead," he added. "There will be payment. Should I go to the policeman?" she asked. "He won't care." "Still go," Ivan said. "Let him earn his bread. I'll look into it myself. Me and my old dog still have a few teeth." She doubted both dog and man could do anything against men with tools, but she left to file a report. Ivan stood, patted his shoulder, and started walking the central alley, Barsik padding along. They reached the stripped plots. Ivan's jaw tightened. He muttered more to the earth than to the sky. "They don't know what they're doing." Then to Barsik, "Let's rest. I've a feeling they'll be back." Next day at noon, a militia UAZ rattled up. Out stepped District Officer Major Bukankin, heavyset and 45, and a trainee, young Sergeant Korolisov. "Anyone here?" The major barked. Barsik bared his teeth and growled. The major kicked the old dog. "Shut up, you rag." The shack door opened. "Even come," waved Barsik down. "It's for me," he whispered. The dog obeyed. "Major Bukankin," the officer announced. "This is Sergeant Korolisov." "Evan Kuzmich," Ivan said evenly. "Caretaker." "We received a complaint, 7 graves looted," the major sneered. "What kind of caretaker are you?" "Maybe it's time you retired." "I already did." 20 years ago, Ivan answered. "But I work here because it's useful. I was away for a week and missed them. That's my fault. I won't be inspecting anything," the major said. "But hear me, old man, if it happens again, you'll be sent to a retirement home and take that mutt with you." Barsik barked twice. Ivan lifted a palm. "You're young," he told the officer, "and you don't seem to like people or animals. Go back to your office." and try to live long enough to become a human being. Bukankin spat at the ground. Korolosov with me. They left in a spray of dust. Ivan stroked Barsik's head. What kind of people are these? He sighed. The dog wheezed a reply and crawled back into the shade. Evening fell like a curtain. Moonlight silvered the stones. Around 8, Ivan heard an engine. Barsik sprang up, barking. Quiet, Ivan whispered. Let's see. A gazelle truck with an extended bed rolled to the far edge of the cemetery. Men spilled from the cab, and the back young, strong, carrying crowbars and cutters. They moved with practice. Barsik, look, Ivan breathed. Here they are. He walked toward them. 6 men were already prying fences from concrete. Metal screamed, hey. Ivan shouted when he was close enough to be heard. This is sacred ground, the world of the dead. When you die, will you be mocked like this? One of them turned, grinning. Come here, Grandpa, before your bones start falling out. Barsik lunged and clamped onto the man's pant leg. The thief kicked, sending the old dog flying into a headstone. Barsik fell silent. You'll answer for that, Ivan cried, rushing to his friend. Another man shoved Ivan from behind. He crashed into a monument and dropped beside the dog. Pain shot through his shoulder, but he gathered Barsik up and staggered back to the shack. He bound the dog's paw and lay down shaking with anger. At dawn, Ivan headed to the village with Barsik in a bag and his arm in a sling. Alexei, the veterinarian 30ish, looked them over. Sprains, some scrapes, he said after examining Barsik. He'll heal. And what about you? I'll manage, Ivan said. I'm going to the metal scrap yard first. They drove to a scrap depot in the next village. In the far corner, Ivan saw neatly cut and pressed segments of cemetery fences. Who brings you these? He asked the receiver. Not your business, the man smirked. I'll tell the police, Ivan said. The receiver laughed. The police already know. They get their share. Barsik erupted in barking, eyes fixed on the receiver as if recognizing him. Ivan hugged the dog and left, face pale. Don't bother with the police, Alexei said in the car. They're likely in on it. Leave this job and enjoy the time you have. I've worked there 40 years, Ivan answered. Take me to the station anyway. If the officer won't act, the spirit of the Pogost will. And that one shows no mercy. At the station, Bukankin took the statement, promised to look into it, and again told Ivan to quit. Ivan walked out heavier than before. I told you, Alexei said softly. You were right, Ivan nodded. I pity them, but they asked for it. Alexei drove him home. Stay inside tonight, the vet urged. Let the uniforms handle it. Ivan said nothing. Midnight. The same gazelle crept back, the same men, the same tools, moving faster now. They broke 2 more fences in minutes and hauled the metal to the truck. That's when the cemetery spoke. First, a long mournful howl, not from any one place but from everywhere at once. Then a rushing thud like a heavy animal charging, bushes shivering as if pressed by a passing train. The ground vibrated. Something massive approached from the caretaker's shack. At the edge of the gang's work area, a shape leapt, blotting the moon. It landed without a sound. A wolf, but not a wolf. As tall as a man, eyes burning red, fangs bright with a pale light. When it growled, the sound held words. I warned you. The Pogost is the territory of the dead. It fell upon them. The man Barsik had attacked earlier was first. 1 bite silence. The rest froze, fear locking their bodies like frost. The thing moved through them in dreadful economy, punishment without struggle, a ledger closed line by line. Then it was over. The truck ticked, cooling in the night. The wolf turned its head toward the shack, as if nodding to someone who had kept count, and was gone. By morning, the district investigative teams swarmed the cemetery. Forensics officers stooped like ants, swabbing, bagging, mapping. Detectives questioned everyone. Strangely, no one had heard a thing. They reached Ivan. He answered every question calmly, even took the moment to complain about Major Buchankin's behavior, the kick, the threats, the apathy. Before noon, in front of Ivan and Barczyk, a radio order came through. Buchankin and his trainee were dismissed from service on the spot. The major stared at the ground and trudged toward his UAZ. Barczyk barked after him, twice, hoarse but alive. Citizen former officer, even called after him, try loving people. And animals. The man spat again and kept walking. For a week, no one came to strip metal. The villagers repaired what they could. A few even put flowers on abandoned graves, whispering apologies to pictures no one recognized anymore. Zenaida returned to her husband's plot with new boards and a borrowed hammer. She thanked Ivan for standing up when others didn't, and scratched Barczyk behind the ears until his tail thumped the dust. "Who was it?" she asked finally. Ivan looked past her to the gray sea of stones. "No one," he said. "Everyone." He didn't explain. He didn't have to. In villages, some truths don't need names. At dusk, Ivan did what he always did, walked the paths, picked up the wind-blown paper, propped fallen portraits back in their frames. He touched each repaired fence like a blessing. He told Barczyk, "We are guests here, you and I." The dog sneezed, as if to say he knew. On his way back, Ivan paused at the main gate and looked at the road where the gazelle had come from. A long time ago, he thought, people believed wolves were guides between worlds. He didn't know if that was true. He only knew the dead had been mocked, and then the mocking stopped. Some debts collect themselves. The heat finally broke with a storm. The wheat was cut. Children went back to school. Zavyalovka returned to being ordinary. But the story traveled at the market, at the bus stop, across fences at dusk. No one said monster. They said, the Pogos took care of it. As for Major Buchankin, people saw him sometimes at the edge of town, walking alone, smoking. He never came near the cemetery again. And when a stray dog wandered close, he tossed it a piece of bread without quite knowing why. If you ever think a graveyard is just iron and stone, remember Zavyalovka. The living can forget, but the ground doesn't. Thanks for watching Untold Dark Truths. Subscribe and stay with us because some places police themselves, and some debts are collected after midnight.